kind of got all of the thoughts going off in my head all at once, and now I've got to decide how I format them and just get them out. Just like a solid task in and of itself. Journaled a bit, and that helps. I would really recommend that for being in this kind of state. It doesn't feel like it will help. It feels entirely inaccessible and pointless, but having actually forced myself to do it, gently forced myself to do it anyway, encouraged maybe, I can say that it helps, even if it doesn't feel like it's going to. So I definitely recommend. This is Rose Facial Toner because it helps me feel my skin and be like, oh, that exists. I must too. And it smells really nice. Obviously, it's rose. So good for grounding. I've done so much today. Actually, I've done so much for like the last entire life, and then more recently we've done so much for the last like little bit of time. Like, God. I think I'm having like serious fusion stuff going on. I think that's what's taking my energy and focus right now. I think. Trying to find the balance, not blind myself with the light, but exist in a aesthetically pleasing light. I had like I'm still kind of having it happen, so it's difficult to talk through, and because of that, because it's hard to film when things are actually happening, I thought I'd really appreciate, and potentially other people going through it would really appreciate, like actual in the moment sort of recordings of it, because that could have useful presentation, like how it could present sort of information for future me and for other people who have similar fusion stuff happen. Oh. So I just had like visual slash visualizing slash like feeling sensory, I don't know how to explain what level it's on, but like kind of the look and the feel of multiple parts of me who are in this fusion and have been for at least a year, I think. There was like a feeling of more of a blending, blurring between us. Like, I felt like I got larger, and like encompassed or engulfed slash was encompassed by and was engulfed by. It was like a mutual encompassing, engulfing sort of feeling. Um, a bit like if you've ever played Agario or just oil blobs on water. It felt sort of like multiple oil blobs that had been splooshing around in the cup, joined together, sort of like joining more to become the same blob, and with more of a mixing and merging of textures and colours. But like I felt it from the perspective of that happening to me, which is so trippy. And like I felt myself get larger and encompass more like feelings and responses and elements of me, and I can much more easily think back to when I was individual parts of me, and it's very even and mutual and really weird because I can remember what it was like to be only a part of me in each part of me. Just so much about this is very trippy. I find myself like thinking back through my memories that I've had in one part of me and then back through my memories in another part of me. And there's some brief moments of like parts of me reacting to memories that I'm gaining, and that like I'll think of something or I'll remember something and be like, yeah, this was a thing, and other parts of me will feel like that's brand new information to me. So I'll have like both a moment of registry and a moment of surprise and finding out simultaneously. And then both parts responding to the fact that that's happened. So they'll be like, what? Whoa, yeah, whoa, what? Wait, what? Whoa, yet? What? Like, all at once? Oh man, fusion stuff is really trippy. And I'm really very like, ow, ow, again. I'm really very like spaced out, but not horrifically. Um, like I'm not feeling bad. I'm not feeling like unhappy about the fact that I'm spaced out. I'm just feeling really um, exhausted and spaced out and contemplative, cerebral, pensive, um, considered, measured. All of those things. So I'm having this happen in like sort of many different dimensions across multiple different topics, and it almost got to be overwhelming because there was like I feel like this is between about 4, 5, maybe 5 now, parts of me. And it's like all the information that's just blooped into each part, each different part registers, but at the same time, I am sort of becoming aware of myself as one whole with all of these multiple parts making me up, and there's like becoming less walls and divides and distinctions between us. It's sort of becoming like I can think for all those parts of me, but at the same time I still feel, so it's like I'm between that and parts of me having their own individual response as they always have. That feels right to say. I sort of don't know exactly what feels like right until I say it, and then I'm like, yes, or not quite. I had like, my gland really hurts. My throat. I had one particularly like challenging fucking traumatic and devastating. Not quite, not a memory like an event, but like it felt like something loading into reality, like just like a whole situation, a whole, oh yeah, that's a thing, that was a thing throughout my life, and that's always been a thing, and oh, that person is like just a massive cunt, even though we were supposed to trust them and have known them our whole lives. And like, yeah, no, they actually traumatized us. And it's like I know I know that. And large parts of me have on and off felt the response to that, but like sort of only feel it for a second and go, whoa, hold on, that's real. And then it sort of cuts off, I guess. It sort of feels like having the ability to accurately perceive it with all these parts of me and sort of retain that knowledge and that feeling. And I do keep having moments of it feeling almost overwhelming. Like things feel like they're speeding up. And I start getting kind of like racing thoughts, but like racing realizations, where like it flashes through one thing loading in and then the next and the next and the next. It sort of snowballs down into them on the same topic, but like I feel like it would be very easy to become, I feel like in the past it has destabilized us. I feel like we've had this before with like these parts of me getting close. I don't feel like we've ever been this close and this fused and this like stably sort of mixed together in a good way. But I do feel like we've come close, and then something like this has happened, and we've hit one of these veins of memories or concepts, and it feels like when it gets to the sort of snowballing realizations stage, we're just like, whoa, too much, too, whoa, and then it just sort of cuts, and you forget everything you were just thinking about and was there, and then it's like, I'm just thinking from one part of me again. But once that happens, I don't realize I'm just thinking from one part of me, because that's then the whole of me. So it doesn't feel like I'm thinking from just a part of me, because I need all parts of me to be joined into the whole to even know they're parts of me, or for them to even be parts of me. Because if we're not joined together, then we're not parts of me. That person is just all of me, and I am. Oh man, this is fucking trippy, man. God. Ah, man. I'm doing a lot of work to breathe, sort of seeing it like a wave. Like when I was little, we, I. No, it's like the whole system. I don't think I was the only one that did it. So when we were little, I know that I and we used to like standing in the ocean in Spain, and like we used to like diving under the water and trying to open our eyes and like managing to open our eyes and look around, and then we had like a blow up surfboard that we'd like surf waves on. Um, but one thing I used to love doing was standing facing the waves so that they'd come up and hit me about chest level, unless I severely timed that wrong, then it would just be like over my face. Um, but I used to like standing there and having and like bracing and seeing if I could stand without getting pushed back while they slammed into me and passed through. And you'd get really used to the initial bracing force of it hitting you, and then the push and pull of it going through you as you stood, and like kind of it was a weird mix. You kind of had to be completely stable and loose and braced and flexible all at once, or it'd hurt too much or knock you down or push you back in one way or another. And it's kind of the same. It feels the same to me. I'm like having these memories and these realizations and these feelings crash into me, and just breathing and validating whatever emotions come up and being prepared to sit with them and in them, with and welcoming all parts of me, whatever they hold, wherever I hold, wherever I feel, and sort of encouraging and reassuring myself that I am big and capable enough of holding all of this. I can. I can have all of this be in me as one person. And it can feel overwhelming without overwhelming me. Which, that part feels new. I feel like we've been close to having this happen before, but at the sped up snowballing bit, it would feel like I couldn't deal with it. And now I'm like, I don't know how many times we've approached these memories and these things. I feel like this is very familiar, but like I'd forget if I'm not in this shape. And now that I'm in this shape, I kind of remember that I've had this happen. I've had these memories and these feelings come back to me and had it obliterate us back into parts a lot of times over. I don't know how many times over, but in this last year, a lot. I don't feel like I'm gonna be obliterated into parts now. I do feel shattered and drained and exhausted beyond measure. And I feel really fucking angry and really fucking unbelievably upset. Like grief stricken and furious. There's not enough synonyms in the world for labeling the size of these emotions. And I feel like I'm bigger as a vessel for them. Like, at some stage I got bigger and more capable. And I think the mistake I made was thinking that that would mean it wouldn't hurt like hell. Or, don't know, like thinking that I could hold all this as reality and feel real with it. And but I just feel comfortable and like nothing would happen to me when I thought of these things or managed to accept them as reality. That's not how it works, surprisingly. It still hurts like hell. But I think what I gain is that I can feel gravely fucking wounded and not obliterate back into shrapnel. And I imagine over time, I'm quite confident that the pain will become more bearable, or I will maybe become more resilient so that I am able to bear it easier. I think there's a difference there, and I think it's the second one. I feel physically sick. I almost can't believe that it's reality. It's like a considered effort to gently remind myself it is, as horrifying as it is reality. read, I heard that speaking out loud and describing what's going on can help keep your social engagement systems online. And if I can keep that online, I think, if my understanding is correct, that helps me process and integrate the information that I'm experiencing. I think it helps me to remain grounded to the present while experiencing it rather than re-experiencing things as if they were happening now. I think that's got something to do with it. I think technically you're supposed to be like having somebody else around to keep your social engagement system online. And I can tell I do. It's just anytime somebody tries to get like to the front next to me, I feel myself kind of closing, just like a tensing, like a serious resistance to letting them come too close. Hey, good duck. It still helps you there. And the camera helps. I've noticed that it's become, and it would, this would be where cameras became triggering, so I understand why looking at the camera has gotten a lot more difficult, and that's why I keep going out of my way to look at the camera and remind myself where I am, that this camera is in our control. I'm going to take a short break for some breathing exercises. My eyes stream liquid. I don't know if I want to class this as crying because there's no sobbing in it. But I'm going to get a drink. So I'm a bit emotionally dissociated, I notice. Not entirely, because my chest feels really heavy. And I feel really tired. So, kind of almost an appropriate response. I think it's going to be very difficult to have an appropriate level of response to this being integrated, because it's fucking intensively, how the fuck do I integrate that? How is that reality type shit? I know, you're a very good dog. Oh my god. Drained, exhausted and drained. I feel like this has helped a little. A drink will help. Or, hey, you're very friendly.